Yippee skippy! Alright, it's live now. About time to take the show live, so a couple more pieces of music. Oh yeah.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have your own. In search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no texting dancer.
What the hell just happened?
I don't know, but it's all your fault.
I moved a window and the whole thing crashed right down. Oh,
Well,
crap.
it sucks, but it's all your fault. It's all good though.
My sound program crashed right in the middle because I moved a window across it and I thought I was trying to download a file to it.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, it's really bizarre sometimes how things work. There we go. Oh well. That's all right. That's not the theme song for this show anyway. That's just me.
So, are
Killing.
we already live? Or?
Yes, it's live. I was pulling the song up to that song would have carried us right to 9 o'clock where I would start the show. So be it. However it's going to work, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
I may have accidentally had a double rum and coke when I shouldn't have. I'm already a wee bit inebriated.
Well, you'll be drunk. I won't be. This will be fun.
Actually, it could be very fun, at least on your part.
Uh-huh. It'll be quite entertaining.
I actually had a lot of fun explaining why to my children.
Uh-huh.
It is that I get more of an accent when I drink.
That's always good.
Yeah, that was interesting. I had to explain to them that when I first came back from New Zealand, I had to squash my Kiwi accent so that people could bloody well understand me. And so every time that I drink, my accent that I've squashed for years comes out to the fore.
Yes, that can happen. That's why I get a southern accent from time to time.
Yeah, and entertaining factor,
Mm-hmm.
when I get very emotional, I have a southern accent come out, which comes from living in the U.S. when I was a kid. So I've got a few accents in me that come out depending on what's going on.
Oh, so you got multiple personalities. Good to know.
Yeah, well, that's not too surprising considering the way I grew up, eh?
Uh-huh. Pretty much. All right, we
You know,
are...
Back in the day, I think I would have made a good pirate.
Well, that would have been good. It's time to flip it live then. Okay. Let's have a show. Yeehaw! There you go. That's a proper yeehaw. Get it up and rolling. Oh, I need this thing up and running again. Uh-oh. There it is. Come on. There you go. All right. All loaded up and ready to go. All loaded and ready for bear.
Good stuff.
All right. Let's power this thing on and get ourselves moving forward. Hunting?
I have a note on my computer that says "bitch shoot in England diet."
Yeah. Okay.
It was specifically regarding this show, so it's either they're two separate things or it's one thing. I can't remember.
Well, you'll have to look that up. Let me pop out an intro here and let's listen to our little theme song. Hunting changes, shooting shit at the Rogues Tavern. This is episode 2. Off we go. Oh, wrong song.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread. We're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty. As I said, it's the beginning of a new year and a brand new show. Talking shit at the Rogues Tavern. This is going to be a show covering just about anything pertaining to self-sufficiency and helping yourself out, homesteading, cooking, urban farming, gardening, and we'll throw in the occasional political rants here and there just because we can.
Also aliens and lizard people.
Aliens and must have the aliens and lizard people. Without the aliens and lizard people, nothing's real.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at your notes there. We have 2 people listening right now, but they're probably people we know. So other than that, we won't see an audience for this for quite some time until the show notes get a little bit better and word gets out that there's a crazy couple of people talking about random stuff. And just to let you know, we will be having some special guests on the show. I've already lined up one person to come onto the show, and he got himself a brand new still for Christmas. So someone who help us with making booze. Something I haven't learned yet is how to properly make booze. So
I once knew a guy when I was a teenager who made wine in his bathtub. I tell you what, it did not taste good.
I don't imagine it did. Wine needs a proper fermentation, not just sitting in a bathtub.
He also scooped up these wood chips from the playground down the way. Mm-hmm. It was apparently supposed to add flavor, but man, Just no.
Yeah, well, there's always a just no sort of thing. At any rate, let's start a little bit. What I was going to, I had some brief links and information to get me started for this episode here. It is 2020. We've hit new lows in what the governments can and will do to their populations when allowed the power that they've been granted the past year. I do like to remember to acknowledge the No Agenda show right off the top for their inspirations of ideas and their stolen sound clips.
Squirrel!
You know, this show, however, unlike the No Agenda, we do have an agenda. It's going to be about how to protect you and yours in the coming years of trial that we are faced with. And what are those trials you're going to be looking at? Those trials fall under the adage of hard times make good men make good times make soft men make hard times. What stage do you think we're at in the world now? You got to quit turning the mic off, man, because you do that, you go silent, you start talking, and nobody hears you.
Well, actually, I was surprised that you were actually asking me a question. Yeah. Usually you ask a question like that, and it's one of those rhetorical questions.
Well, it is a rhetorical question, but for people out there, many people out there, there's a surprising number of people I've run into that still think we're in good times.
So, wait, you actually want me to answer that?
Yes.
Because, I can.
Yeah, well, please do.
Okay, well, if you actually want me to answer it, the answer is that we're heading into a hell of a shitstorm.
Uh-huh. So all the soft men of the last 30 years have created the hard times for us.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, so that's what I was getting at. Basically, where we're at now, we are coming into the hard times. If we're not just in the beginning of them, they've been here for the last several years. I think they've been here.
The sad thing is that my generation had a large part to play in creating these BS times that we're stuck in.
Well, that's the millennial men are all the soft men.
Not just the men, though. Honestly, it feels like we've been heading into matriarchy over the past 20 years. And that matriarchy has unfortunately been following the women who they allow emotions to control them rather than logic. There are plenty of women out there who manage to work through logic rather than emotions, but we seem to be following the women who allow emotion to control them over logic. And those are the women who have been guiding the basics of society, and that's what's really leading us into this complete shitstorm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, women have always been in control of major empires when you think about it, but before, women were in control kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
And now women are in control as a matriarchy. It's like either bow down and obey, female, or you die some kind of horrible death, either by society, your entire self is destroyed. Cancel culture, that's one of the things.
Yeah.
But it's not good the way that it's been going. The women that we seem to be following are not the women we should be following. The women we should be following should be the women who can actually put logic before thought. That's one of the reasons why we follow men for so long.
Women put logic before thought? Come on, be real. Serious?
Sorry, logic before emotion is what I meant to say.
Or even logic before emotion. Come on, you're talking about women. You want to know an interesting thing?
I'm a female. I put logic before emotion at least 9 times out of 10.
Yes, well, okay. But, there's an interesting...
I can do it. Anyone can do it.
There's an interesting thing about matriarchal societies. There's a couple of them still in existence from times on Earth. And do you know that they still live in grass huts?
Yes, I do.
No.
And I can understand why. You live in a grass hut, you don't end up falling into that stupid trap of you must have these comforts in order to survive, so you must work 10 times harder to earn 2 times as much. It's a horrible trap that we fall into. So the women who are actual proper leaders living in grass huts, it makes sense.
It makes sense. It makes sense that nothing gets created or nothing gets done in their society, is what you're telling me then.
No.
Because there's no advancements. That's a society that hasn't advanced.
It's not so much that. It's more so that you don't need over 80% of what you have in regular society right now. It's very, very much capable, like our society is very much capable of surviving in said grass huts. And when you survive in said grass huts, you wind up living a life that is more fulfilled, more meaningful, and you don't end up wasting all of your energy on things that don't bloody well matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what John Henry next door has, his new leaf blower or what have you. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to your neighbor next door to see who has the better frickin' leaf blower. You should instead be focusing on things that help you survive. I can understand why they would still live in grass huts. You don't need to live in a brick and mortar house in order to be safe. Living in a grass hut can actually keep you perfectly safe and well. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, that's one way to see it. Why do you keep turning your microphone off?
Because I'm fiddling.
Oh, well, quit fiddling with your mute button.
But it moves.
You'll quit fiddling with your mute button because it interferes with things and it makes this big loud click every time you turn it on and off.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes, I thought I would inform you. Yes, it moves. So obviously you're not quite 2 sheets to the wind, but you're having a really good time.
I need a fidget toy.
Well, I've got a fidget spinner here.
Yeah, you have one over there. I'm still over here in Langford.
Well, my pipe went out. Hang on. Let's see here. Figure I could sit here and smoke a pipe.
Yeah, I noticed that you lit your pipe. You need a Gandalf pipe. It'll suit your personality more.
I like this one. It's a good pipe. It works very well.
Poor Sean. He's dying to light a pipe inside.
Yeah, well, sucks to be him.
It does.
Yeah, sucks that you signed a contract that says you can't smoke inside your abode.
He still goes on about the one time he got to light up a pipe over at your place. That was like the highlight of his entire year.
Well, you know, I allow it. I won't allow cigarettes in the house because they stink it up. But for some reason, a pipe just makes it smell nice.
Well, yeah, pipe tobacco is awesome. There's a reason we keep getting this guy's pipe tobacco.
Yeah, it's much better.
I like pipe tobacco.
It's much better smelling. It kind of reminds me of being a kid. It reminds me of my dad. It reminds me of Dad. In fact, well, I guess that'd be your grandpa, but it reminds me of him because, you know, back then, he smoked the pipe a lot. This pipe I've got was actually his. This pipe here must be about 45 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was his pipe. He smoked it back in the 70s. Back in the early 70s when we lived in Texas. That's where I remember it. That's where he smoked the pipe all the time. And this was one of his pipes. It took me like 2 hours to clean it so I could actually use it. It was so clogged up. So he obviously hadn't used it in a very, very long time. That's okay. I like it every once in a while. I don't smoke it too often, but every once in a while. And for some reason tonight, I just had an urge for a pipe. I started to line and thought, you know what? I think I'll smoke it during the show. Just because that's what I want to do. All right, well, let's see here. What do we got? I've got a couple of quick things here. Got one fascinating piece of information I want to cover up just real quick because I was listening to a book here this evening, and they made a mention about, you know, making black powder. And as we talked about, as we said in the show is about how to survive. And one day down the road, you may have to learn how to make your own black powder and your own little lead balls, or find really good round rocks that you can stuff down a tube, and you might want to have to shoot at some animal. Using a gun's a hell of a lot easier than a bow and arrow. But so I went and researched real quickly. So how do you make black powder? You know, which is something that I've never known anything about. And come on, you bloody thing! You're not going to the right screen.
It loves you. You just can't tell.
Well, it's you know, I wouldn't say it loves me, but I'd say it's not cooperating with me at the moment. At any rate, this is really great. I'll leave the link in the show notes. That'll be up on the podcast itself. So if you want the show notes, you're going to have to go to I want to start say WP plugin. You're going to have to go to the Rogues Tavern. You can tell I do 2 shows, and it's been a long time since I've done another one. You'll have to go to the roguestavern.com, and the links will be there. And this is a website I hadn't even discovered. It's called wildernessarena.com, and they've got a lot of really good articles about food, water, and shelter, environmental stuff here. It's an interesting site. I sort of skimmed around, but this was what got me. And this is how to make gunpowder. And it turns out gunpowder is, I knew it was 3 basic ingredients, but I could never remember what they were. It's charcoal, which is easily made. You can make your own charcoal. And saltpeter, which is also easily made, and then sulfur. Sulfur is the hard one to get, is finding the sulfur. But you can find sulfur in many, many places. So sulfur is able to get, but the other one that got me was the saltpeter, or as it's also known as potassium nitrate, and how to get it. Now you can get it from combining pee and compost. So basically you can set up, and they give you a pretty good description about how to create your own saltpeter here by creating a compost pile with a layer underneath it and then basically peeing on it or throwing your pee on it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really quite a fascinating article. And of course, I had actually done some research last week sometime, because I've been trying to get, one of the staples you should have in your house, your emergency supplies, is activated charcoal. And activated charcoal is slightly different also than regular charcoal. But making charcoal is real interesting, and it's different than, the coals you see in your wood fire if you put your fire out. That's not charcoal.
Explain this, because I think charcoal and I think of the stuff right from the fire.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking from an artist's perspective, and it all draws the same.
Okay, well, it's charcoal, but I'm certain it's different. It's different types of wood they use to make the charcoal. Because how you make charcoal is so simple in how it's done, and what they do with it to make it is you take a softwood. You can't use hardwoods. You can't use like oak or maple or any real seriously hardwoods, or even plum wood is very hard. So you can't use those hardwoods. What you have to use is like pines or ash or trying to think of alder, the softer woods. And then you chunk them up and you throw them in a pot or a steel container with a lid on it with a hole in the top. And then you put that steel container into a hot fire. And basically it burns the wood on the inside, causes the wood to burn as charcoal and never catch fire, because the flame never catches in there, because there's never enough oxygen for it to catch fire, and it just smolders. And when it's done and you take it out, you just rinse it through water to get rid of all the dust, and now you have pure charcoal.
So essentially the stuff that they sell you at the provincial campgrounds.
Yeah, basically the cheap wood they say at provincial campgrounds. Yeah, probably would make good charcoals, because that's pretty much mostly pine or cedar or something else, and that's what's recommended for it. But then, and I can't remember the formula. I wrote the formula down so I could save it for later. Was making the activated charcoals. Once you got the charcoal, and then you've got bleach. You use bleach and something else, and there's a process to making it activated charcoal. And then once it's activated charcoal, it's the stuff that's used for air filters and stuff you could put into a homemade gas mask if you need it, or you can use it in a bag to stick in a room to absorb odors, and more. There's a whole lot of uses for activated charcoal. So that one's quite an interesting little bit of info.
Sean wrote, I believe it's the level of carbon in the charcoal that determines whether it's usable or not for gunpowder. Don't quote me on that.
No. Well, it's not the level of carbon. The level of carbon, well, I guess it would be. I didn't find that specific, but it sounds okay. I back up just a step on that, and I say yes. I guess it would be the level of carbon, in that the quality of wood you get would determine the density of the charcoal. But if you're using it for gunpowder, you actually have to crush it down into a powder to use it, because you got to crush down the charcoal, you got to crush down the saltpeter, and you got to crush down the sulfur. And don't ever try to crush all three at the same time, or it will go boom.
Okay.
And there's a formula mix for it, which is about 70% charcoal, about 15% saltpeter, and then about, let's scroll down here. They've got it all right down here in a nice big graphic at the bottom of the page. 75%, the chemistry of gunpowder. 56, 66, 15% sulfur, 75% potassium nitrate, 15% charcoal, and 10% sulfur. That's your formula for it. So. But it could be a very useful thing. Even if you didn't use it for guns, you could mix it up to use it to create bombs or blow things up or do all kinds of other cool stuff with it. And to go to his other comment, everyone needs a good copy of the Anarchist Cookbook. Yes, definitely everyone needs that. And they should also have the Professor Ted's manifesto. They should always have a copy of Professor Ted's manifesto. The guy who sent...
Here's something to think about looking up. Those smoke bombs that people used to make in order to get away and everything.
Yeah, I bet.
Wonder what would be in those.
I bet the same stuff here in a different formula. I bet it would be just a different formula. Because depending on the formula you mix, according to this article, depending on the formula mix, depends on the type of explosion you get. So. All right. You got anything at the moment? No? I need to give us a...
No, you told me that I could just not do any research for this and be all walk in and not worry about it.
I just thought I would ask because I have to play a quick song here so I can go visit the tap room. All right, let's go see. I need to make sure I stay away from... We'll come back to that after I finish this. We'll go with this one.
Sounds like fun.
Well, me and the boys are from the wrong side of town, but no one complains when we come around. We bring a white lightning in our music too. Gonna get it on, gonna play it for you. Singing country music, west of two, drinking red eye whiskey, call it Mountain Dew. We're playing hard, singing loud. Come on, you all, let's really get down. Cowboys, they call us white trash. They always make us pay with cold hard cash. But when we get to town and I play our stuff, the people start a rockin' and they can't get enough of that country music. West of two, drinking red eye whiskey, call it Mountain Dew. We're playing hard, singing loud. Come on, you all, let's really get down. Yeah. Well, we got an old whiskey still out in our yard, an old pit bull that likes to guard. One day the sheriff came and he tried our stuff. Now he's our fan and he can't get enough of that country music. West of two, drinking red eye whiskey, call it Mountain Dew. We're playing hard, singing loud. Come on, you all, let's really get down. Well, we got a beat up bass and some old guitars. Most people think that we're pretty bizarre, but we like to play our music on a Saturday night. Maybe get some lovin', start a fight, singing country music. West of two, drinking red eye whiskey, call it Mountain Dew. We're playing hard, singing loud. Come on, you all, let's really get down.
Yeehaw. Alrighty. Well, it looks like what do we got? What's this? You guys having a little tete there in the chats there? Something about
tete-a-tete? Absolutely.
Something about you being right.
I'm always right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm wrong. I'm always right.
Yeah.
At least with Sean.
Yeah. That's the way it works. Alrighty.
That's the way it works. Happy wife, happy life. That's how it works.
Yeah. Never gonna happen again. Okay. Let's move this along
Well,
to
not for you. This poor bugger's stuck.
Yeah, let's move this along to something else more entertaining. And real briefly, I wanted to go over if you want some true entertainment, folks, that may pick this up later and get this far into the show, is go check out the very first episode of the Rogues Tavern, which is a 4-hour episode, and the last hour and a half gets really entertaining. Because we got two extremely drunk people there by the end. We start out maybe slightly buzzed, and by the end, pretty hammered.
You know what's funny though? You were showing your drunkenness before I did.
Yeah.
But I was drinking at the same rate as you, if not more.
I might have been drinking long before I got on there.
So was I.
Oh well. Maybe
I just like the fact that I can claim that I can hold my liquor better than you.
Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't pass out before you, so you can't claim it until you drink me under the table.
I have once. I had to pour you into the cab one night when we went out drinking.
But I hadn't passed out yet, so it wasn't done. Goes until you pass out, don't you know? So
all right, that's it. Next time we go out.
Oh, you're gonna try and get me that hammered. Okay, good luck.
It'll be entertaining.
I'm sure it will. I'll make sure I don't drink a single beer.
Yeah, right. You can't do that.
Oh well, I'll just drink nothing but hard alcohol, and then I'm good.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I have a high tolerance for hard alcohol too.
You'll be like the girl in that Indiana Jones movie. What's it called? Which one was it? The second one? No, it was the third one. I think it was the third Indiana Jones movie, where he goes back and finds her up in the mountains. No, it's actually in the first one. What are we talking about? No, it's not the first one. It's the second. Not Temple of Doom. No, the first one was where he went after the Ark of the Covenant, isn't it?
I have no idea. I haven't watched those movies since I was like 13.
And the female in there, he found her up in the mountains up in above China. What are those? They're called the Himalayas. Up in
Bloody hell! It's been 20 years since I watched those movies.
Yeah, well, I say I got copies of them. But anyway, she was busy pounding booze, drinking big heavy dudes under the table, making money, betting on who could drink the longest.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. So that was a good random segue off of everyone go check out the show. But the show is going to be every Tuesday at 9, whether Amber shows up or not. And so I'm going to make this will be show, and it will get better as it moves along, as I have more research or pull in different stuff, what I'm listening to during the week. I only got my notes half finished. And that's where I was going with it. I wanted to talk about what I've been doing is I've been working on the website for the Rogues Tavern. And the website now is set up for people to get in there in membership. And why I was mentioning that, if you listen to the show on YouTube, you will not get the entire show because there's big, large chunks, a total of about half an hour or so that had to be cut out from it because YouTube didn't like some of the things we were using and slapped me with
We're badly behaved.
We're badly behaved around copyright around copyrighted material, and I didn't get a copyright strike, but what I got was a copyright claim, and the people who own the copyright material had decided that, well, we're not going to let you show it anywhere in the world. Piss off. It was like, you either get rid of it or blank it out or whatever. So I just had it cut out of the video. But if you want the whole show, you have to go to the Rogues Tavern and get it, and to see it, you will have to become a member of the Rogues Tavern, and you'll have to come in at one of the 3 levels, either at the cowboy level, at the what level ships are they? I forget here. Let's see what levels.
You know, it's funny. I tried to sign up today, and it told me there was an issue with my attempted subscription.
Oh, well, that's something I didn't know. Well, you should let me know that so I can dig into it. I worked on it, and all seemed to be working well. So.
Well, I did use Gmail, so maybe it just doesn't like me.
You got to be a cowboy, a gunslinger, or a sheriff. That's the titles I've labeled on everyone.
Well, what about Rogue?
No.
You should have Rogue.
No.
It's Rogues Tavern. You should have Rogue.
And all the rogues come into the Rogues Tavern.
Yeah, but you should have the option to be a rogue.
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't know. This is what I came up with. We wanted some good Western stuff in there for it, and I debated.
No, I don't like that. You should have Rogue on there.
No. Okay, well, piss off. My show, my shop, my everything. At any rate, we've also what's going to happen?
Worth it.
Those that do come in at the membership level of sheriff will get a 10% discount on items in the store. So there's an incentive for you. The pricing is $33 it's a free level for the cowboy. Cowboy level's all free. The gunslinger's at $33 a year, and the sheriff's $66 a year.
I still say you should have Rogue.
Yeah, you say it. At any rate, what else we got there?
I'm going to keep saying it.
I'm sure you will keep saying it. The recipes are starting to appear. I've started to add image galleries into the site. I've started to add in the products for the shop, which aren't purchasable yet, but the products are going to be in the shop. But as soon as I've got it all completely built out and ready, then you'll be able to purchase it. All I've got in there right now is the Bamboo Vanilla and the Rogue Sourdough Starter. And I've got the story about the Rogue Sourdough Starters all written up and ready. Just getting it edited, and once it's edited, then I'll be putting it up on the site. So it's a very entertaining story that may be true or may be false. You decide. However you want to think about it. At any rate, the Rogues Tavern is coming together quite nicely. It's pretty much on schedule for everything that's going with it. And make sure you go check out the Rogues Tavern. And sign up, people, those that find this and take their time. Okay, what do I got? I do have a couple of quick things from YouTube that I wanted to bring forth today, and I'm not overly concerned about strikes on these ones here or copyright slams on these ones, because they come from some guys that really want their information to get out in the world. And that's what's happening. We are having, yeah, it really doesn't like it when I...
You know, you could always just swap over to BitChute and use the BitChute videos for whatever YouTubers you're looking for.
Yeah, I could be using theirs, but I happened to find them when I was in YouTube, and these YouTubers are on BitChute.
BitChute is way better.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And as far as I know, I think we're still streaming, but it looks like I've managed to choke out my Firefox again. It really doesn't like it when I do this much stuff on it.
That's weird, because I have currently I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 10 tabs open on Firefox, and it's having no issue.
Yeah, well, this is, for some reason, it's choking me, it's choking down, and I think it has simply to do with how many, not just how many tabs I have open, but what I'm doing with it at the moment.
Well, what are you doing to it?
Well, I'm trying to open up multiple tabs and having it do multiple things, and for some reason now I can't close it, so now I gotta actually crash burn it.
When's the last time you updated your Firefox?
A week or two ago.
So that should be running just fine. That's weird to me.
It does this to me for some reason from time to time. I've noticed it over time. It just wants to be a pain in the neck, and there's not much I can do about it. Basically,
kick it.
I'll do what I did last time, was shut it all down, restart it.
Kick it.
Yeah, well, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm kicking it.
I've been watching a show lately called Black Sails.
Mm-hmm.
I bloody well love this show. It's about pirates. I've had an obsession with pirates since I was in grade 2.
Yeah.
And this particular show has Long John Silver,
mm-hmm.
Captain Flint, Captain Black, Captain I never pronounce his name properly. Racnid?
Yeah.
It's a French last name. But it's got all these amazing pirate captains in there.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did is they actually took these characters and stuck as much as possible to their stories. I mean, Long John Silver is purely fictional, but Blackbeard was a real person, so is Flint.
Yeah.
And Blackbeard and Flint are amazing. Their stories are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Charles Vane, Captain Vane. I don't know if he's real or not. I haven't looked him up yet, but these main characters in this show are fantastic. It's really entertaining to watch, and they have it center around Providence Island, which is also a mainstay for the pirates in those days. The whole thing is just really well done. I really enjoy it.
Cool.
You know, I think I would have made a good friggin' pirate back in the day.
Oh, you would have. You'd have been feared by all of them.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah, You'd have been feared by them all. So
Bonnie Ann was another pirate that was well known. She was one of the few female pirates that was well known, and she's also in this story as a main character.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I really think that more pirate shows should be made based on the actual pirates that existed. It kind of sucks 'cause we don't really have all that much information about the pirates, but my goodness, when I was in grade 2, that's when I first started obsessing, and I started looking at all the pirate ships that ever existed.
Yep.
And I managed to memorize most of the parts of almost every pirate ship I came across.
Cool.
They're not all that different, but pirate ships are definitely different from merchant ships. Very interesting. What's that you got up there?
It is the video I was trying to load. This is from the Ice Age Farmer.
Oh, he's a good one.
He's very good. He's got a lot of really great research. And this video here in particular, and this link will be in the show notes. And what he's talking about in this video here is about nations that are suddenly stopping their exports of food stocks.
Ah, yes.
And this is not something that normally happens, which tells you if a nation is stopping its food exports, that means they're more concerned about feeding their people than they are about getting money out there. Now, that could or will change, because one of the things that's not taught, and I only recently learned this about the Irish potato famine, that sent so many Irish to the U.S.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened about that, it wasn't the lack of food they had, it was the lack of food for the people that lived there. What was happening was the rich people were taking all the food and selling it, exporting it. So the poor people didn't get anything to eat because they couldn't afford to pay the food prices.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were actually having a famine. They couldn't grow anything, and that's why they could only grow potatoes.
Nope. No, it wasn't. They couldn't. They said it was because they couldn't grow potatoes at all because there was a blight. A blight on the potatoes.
Interesting.
But I recently found out that it wasn't that entirely. It was also the fact that they were exporting all the food out, and there wasn't enough to feed the poor. And so the poor were like, well, take a chance, board a boat, go to the New World, and see how my luck goes there. It couldn't be any worse than here.
Makes sense.
Which is why so many came to America and ended up in hovels that were almost as bad as the ones they left.
I guess.
Barely housed.
I don't know.
Especially the ones that ended up stuck in New York and couldn't get out of New York.
Yeah, New York definitely, but from what I read of the history books and the diaries and all those things that I obsessed over when I was younger, the stuff that you found in Ireland versus what you found in the New World, the New World was much better.
Well, yeah, it would be once you get out of New York. But they all landed in New York because that's where everyone came into port in New York.
Yeah, okay. New York wasn't any different from the rest of the old world at that time. No,
New York had grown up to be the shithole that it is. And it has become again. It got to be good for a while. New York, I understand, was pretty decent for a couple of decades, and then it's fell quickly to be a hovel again. But anyway,
I lived there for about 8 months in the 90s. And
anyway,
I tell you what, the rats and the cockroaches that grow in New York back in the 90s, I swear that entire island is covered in some kind of, I can't remember the name of the stuff that made all the superheroes. What's it called?
Plague? Kryptonite? I don't know. Capes?
I can't remember. Nuclear reaction stuff. What's it called?
The hell? There we go. That's why I couldn't do it.
What was happening?
Oh, I was trying to move my mouse, but I was looking at the wrong screen, and I was trying to move the mouse the wrong way. It was rather quite entertaining there.
I don't have too many screens, so I don't have that problem yet.
Yeah, it was really funny. I ended up trying to open up I ended up accidentally clicking and trying to open Google AdSense, which I haven't used in God knows how long.
Google what?
AdSense. AdSense.
Okay.
They didn't quite throw me off the program, but it quit making me money about 5-6 years ago, and I just quit using it. And I still got links to it though. Anyway, I did have a spot linked here on this, or moved to on here, because he was talking about. I should have just saved the time code for it. Let's find that again.
Now you know for next time.
Well, I tried to do that, but I sometimes remember it. There we go. So we got some serious weather patterns changes happening in the world right now. And
yes, we do.
A lot of people are not paying attention to those weather patterns and the sunspots occurring. And this is what we got. Let's play him out for a second.
Seasons that had similar conditions. In this case, looking back both at other seasons where La Nina was in effect, which tends to mean that they experience dry conditions like they are right now, and also at other years where they were in a solar minimum, as we are now, which also tends to lead to dry conditions. So when you take these two things together, La Nina and a solar minimum, then, as you might expect, you can reasonably expect to have pretty dry conditions going on for January, February, and March. And so it's very likely that we do see...
and this is for South America, just so you know.
Parts of Argentina don't even get their beans in the ground. So what does that mean? Well, given that we're already running at pretty historically low stocks to use ratios, in other words, we're using a lot more beans than we have right now in terms of soybeans, and you can tell because of the sentiment of traders changing rapidly in the last few weeks here. Just a couple examples of how traders are reacting to the situation on Twitter. Hello, do you have any beans, soybean meal to sell me? Ha ha ha, no, not a chance in hell. What about corn? Can we please have some corn? Farmers, come and take it. Roland Mape. So you can see.
So he's talking about the shortages that are happening across the globe in many areas that aren't talked about here. And those shortages we will have those too in the coming months. Because we are dealing with the solar minimum that nobody's talking about yet.
Not just the solar minimum. If you really think about it, we're also going to be entering into a stage where those 4 planets, I think it was...
The 4 gas giants. We talked about it in the show. The 4 gas giants coming into a square alignment.
Saturn, Jupiter...
Uranus, and Neptune.
That's the one. Okay, so yeah, with those 4 will be creating an electromagnetic square around us, which is going to cause an electromagnetic field to pull on us.
Yeah, it's not going to be around us. Basically, they're coming together in a square, and they're going to create their own gravity electromagnetic field. The 4 planets have their own, but when they come together, they're going to create an even bigger one that wraps around all 4 planets there, and that is going to pull against us while the sun is pulling against us in the opposite direction. And
apologies, I should have said beside us, not around us.
Yeah, and then you've got if you go watch Adapt 2030, he lays it out quite nicely. And the possibility is it could cause the Earth to be pulled out, causing it to squash down, like taking a soft tennis ball and pushing it down in the center. And what that could do is that could cause massive liquefaction and mud expulsion from the Earth up onto the top of the Earth.
And as my daughter was able to figure out through her own research, with the magnetic North Pole moving the way it has been, if we weren't already in a solar minimum, the way that we are currently, we would be experiencing an extreme issue with our atmosphere collapsing due to the magnetic North Pole shifting the way it is. And the solar rays affecting us. Because if it weren't for the solar minimum happening, then the solar rays would actually be penetrating our atmosphere and causing a whole bunch of issues that we really don't want to deal with, that would cause our entire atmosphere to collapse.
Yeah.
Much like Neptune's just did, I believe. Was it Neptune or Saturn?
Neptune.
Okay.
They got two of the gas giants. It's Pluto. Pluto, the atmosphere has collapsed.
Yeah.
And then Neptune, Neptune or Jupiter? Jupiter, the storm on Jupiter that everyone watching that always went east to west is now going west to east.
Yeah, that one's so interesting. Plus, a piece of it just split off and is just staying in one spot while the rest of it is moving the complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
So much interesting stuff going on with the stars. It's amazing that it doesn't actually make it into actual news.
Well, no, that's because that's actual news that might actually impact the way people live their lives or the choices they make for different things.
Also, the amount that the sun has shifted?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't have that. Can't have that at all, And,
but listen to any bloody farmer and they'll tell you all about it.
Well, the farmers, but what's interesting is there was a time not long ago when there's still, I think the videos are still available on YouTube. If you go look up the Inuit elders talk about our sky changing, the sky changing.
Yeah.
And that fact that the Earth is tilted or moved in the sky, and that it's not pointing to the same stars. And they also talk about the changes in the winds, something they could depend on for generations, and that they need to know where the sky is and the winds so that they can get home safely across the ice packs and the ice floes. And it's become more difficult for them.
I was thinking about this earlier today, and I had the thought about how last time that our entire calendar reset, we had just changed the age.
Yep.
I can't remember the last age. Like, I only know that we're going into Aquarius because it's been touted constantly, but I don't even know what our last age was. Like, I can't remember.
The age of Pisces, and we entered the age of Pisces at the same time Jesus was supposedly born.
Yeah, and when we entered the age of Pisces, our entire calendar reset, which begs the question, what the bloody well happened that caused us to restart our bloody calendar? It couldn't have just been Jesus.
No.
It had to have been something more.
Yeah, well, the same thing that's happening to us right now. We are at a reset right now. The great reset that they're trying to sell everyone right now, and everyone, you hear it, and it's just a conspiracy theory. No, they're actually talking about it. They're promoting it, the great reset. The European commissions or whatever, and that Franz Fowler guy, the guy that keeps telling you go get your needle stuck in your arm. They're touting the great reset, and we are in a reset.
I can't. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can't be the only one here who sees the regular pattern of the great reset happening every time that the age changes here.
No, but you're one of the few that actually acknowledge it, and most people don't acknowledge the patterns when they see them. They don't.
Patterns are my specialty.
They don't want to, even when they see them, they just don't want to believe it happens. They don't want to believe it's happening.
Why not? That I don't understand. Like, if you see the bloody pattern, why the hell can't you acknowledge it? Because if you acknowledge it, then you can have a better understanding of it. If you have a better understanding of it, then you can actually plan and prepare for when it happens again.
Yeah, well, that's because I don't know. I don't know. There is a term for it, and I can't remember the term, but it goes along that people don't want to believe what's actually in front of them when it goes against their belief. Or what they believe.
People are broken?
People have been broken since we came into existence. That's not the problem. It has to do with wanting things to go our way, and when they don't go our way, we don't want to believe that they're not going our way. So.
See, I got half a mind to go and start a pirate brigade myself right now.
Well, you better get them all warmed up, get your ships working, make sure the ship doesn't use any fuels and run solely on sails, and because that'll be what everyone uses eventually.
Oh, I would love to learn how to work a sail ship. That would be amazing. Have you actually looked in to what it takes to run a ship that runs on sails?
No, I've never actually gone sailing. I've thought about it a few times, but I've just never had the opportunity, and it would be actually kind of interesting.
The mechanics are gorgeous. The way that the steering wheel actually connects with the rudder, the way that the sails catch the wind, it's gorgeous. It's all mathematics.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because even in shows like Black Sails, what I'm watching right now, they portray most of the sailors as bloody stupid. But you can't be that stupid if you're running a ship Not really,
No.
because in order to really run a ship and even to have a basic understanding of how to catch the wind when you're out in the middle of the ocean, you have to have a decent understanding of the mathematics that are involved.
Mm-hmm. Plus, you have to have a massive understanding of the stars so you can navigate, so you don't just ride around in circles in the middle of the ocean.
The whole process is absolutely gorgeous. I would love to learn that.
Yeah, well, start by getting yourself a sextant and learning how to use one.
I have a basic understanding of how to use one, but I don't think that would be good enough to help me find my way out of any kind of issue that I find myself in out in the middle of the ocean. You know what I would love more than anything?
If you don't have a sextant, you will not be able to navigate.
One of the main dreams I've had since I was about 12 years old is to see the moon rise when I'm in the middle of the ocean, out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, that would be interesting.
It would be gorgeous. Apparently, when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you see the moon rise, it's like watching the sun-rise, but it's a moon, and it's bigger than life. That's what I've heard, and that's what I would love to see.
No, I never saw the moon rise when I was in a desert. The desert is about the equivalent to land for the ocean is the desert, because you have horizon or horizon with nothing in your way.
Yeah, but too far away from the ocean for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the only time I've ever seen the Milky Way in all its true glory was when I was in the middle of the desert in Arizona. I was a good 300 miles from the major city, and there was nothing else around us. And it was a moonless night to boot. And once your eyes adjust, you can actually see by the stars.
I wonder how different the Milky Way looks between the northern and the southern hemisphere. Because I remember when I was in the southern island of New Zealand, where they didn't even have street lamps, I remember seeing the Milky Way and the Southern Cross, and it was so bright that it caused a reflection off of my watch when I checked it. I could see my watch in the moonlight.
Well, that's it. It's like, okay, one of the things we've done as humans with our electricity is we've eliminated the natural light. The only time it was ever truly dark for humans previously was when they were inside their shelters or during a storm. And even that wasn't pure dark. But if it was a cloudless sky or even partly cloudy, you could see by the stars. And if the moon was out, you could walk through the forest with the moon out, because enough light will come down from it to navigate and see where you're going by. And as far as your question about the southern Milky Way versus the northern Milky Way, all you see in the southern half of the Milky Way that you can be seen from the planet, and we see the northern half. So it'll be a bit different. The river will be a bit wider or narrower, depending on the Milky Way. As far as the Northern Cross goes, it peaks up above here. You can get a peek of it on December 21st. You can get a peek of it if it's a crystal clear night, and you can see all the way to the horizon on the south. You can see the top of the Southern Cross. So that's one of the things that falls into the reason why Jesus died on the cross, because the Southern Cross comes up, and that's where the sun stops moving, and it's dead for 3 days. The Southern Cross peaks up. So he died on the cross. And then 3 days later, the sun starts moving again. It's like the thing about the three kings followed the sun. And what they did was, if you look at it, the three stars in the sky, Orion's belt, also known as the three kings, you want to know where the sun is going to rise on December 21st or 25th, after it's been dead for 3 days, where it's going to come up, because it moves 1 degree north on the 25th. You want to know where that's going to be, you'd follow the three kings in the sky, and they point right down to the exact spot on the earth where the sun is going to rise wherever you're at. It's the beauty of knowing the stars, is you don't have to know your latitudes, because the stars automatically adjust for them for you.
That's cool.
Yeah, so the stars tell you everything. So anyway, this is getting us close to the end of the show. I'm going to cut this thing at an hour. I'm going to keep it tied to 1 hour every week and not go on and on and on. One, I still got work to do the following day. And
hard time?
Hard time?
Hard time as in like, this is an hour, this is the end of the show,
yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, That's it. I gotta make it a hard clock for the end of the show. So anything in between, no time on it, no time limits whatsoever. But when we come up, when I notice we're coming up on the end, I just say, okay, 5 minutes. We got to make sure the subject can't wrap us too far. We got to cut it right there at the end. So before I go, I want this one other YouTube video. Comes from Adapt 2030. He put it out earlier this week on January 2nd. And he's talking about some of the January forecasts for the Northern Hemisphere. It seems it's going to be pretty warm over Greenland, but what that's going to do is that's going to push all the cold air out of the Arctic down upon top of us. So the United States, central United States to western United States and western Canada is going to get really bloody cold in January.
Yeah.
And that is as part of the problems with the solar minimum we're in and the fact that our jet streams are not working the way they used to work. So these are things to keep in mind, folks, and these are reasons to start preparing your gardens. I didn't even get into dealing with preparing your gardens or other things you need to start preparing for. And I'll try to bring more information about that and how to take care of many things that are coming along. And if anyone's got any news or any tidbits they want to get me, you can reach me at the Rogues Tavern. Just go hit the contact form or leave comments and stuff in the videos below. And if you like these videos, please hit the thumbs up button. Let people know you like them, and subscribe and hit the bell if you want to get notifications. Yeah, I got to pitch that little bitch out there.
One of the interesting things I find is how people who have previously broken bones, they'll feel the cold long before it's coming.
Yeah.
Like even something as simple as I broke my foot a couple of years ago. I've been feeling that snow coming. I can feel it. It's about a week away, I think.
Yeah, well, painful. It's not in our forecast yet for a week away, but the cold is coming. It says
it's not in our forecast yet, but I'll bet you within the next 2 weeks maximum, we are going to have snow.
Now, we had a pretty good windstorm today.
Yep.
Yeah, a week and a half out to the 14th. Yeah, we're still at pretty warm weather for a week and a half out to the 14th.
Okay, so I have to ask, you're going to make the show only an hour long?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Seems like barely enough time to cover anything.
Well, it's just because, we'll have to be more precise in the subjects.
It means I have to actually plan for this.
Well, it's up to you. Plan if you want. Anyway, I'm gonna play our song out. Don't run away on me, but I'm gonna play our theme song out, and then we will cut the show. So thanks everyone, those that tuned into the show, and off we go with our theme song.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill.
And there we go. That's a wrap. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll look forward to having you come into the Rogues Tavern, doing some shit talking at the tavern next week. So it'll be every Tuesday, 9 p.m. That's all I've got now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.